Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and guess what? I'm in my truck and I'm at Travel Ball, but this is going to be one hell of a video here. And today in the private group, I'm going to talk about two things. One is a story about myself that I've never been able to really tell on YouTube. You know why? The other is a topic that I literally tried to talk about I talked about it once or twice or three times, and then literally had 2 weeks worth of my videos deleted. I'm going to talk about that in the private group today, so strap in on that. It's going to be a doozy. Now, this video right here is money. Listen to this video.
Some comment here that says that central banks are buying gold at an all-time high, and he's asking, why isn't the price of gold moving up substantially? Perhaps you are the best one to answer this one.
Okay, yes, absolutely. So the price of gold is 100% manipulated, even the COMEX. Silver prices go, palladium, they've been manipulating the precious metals market since Nixon took it off the gold standard, okay? In order so that the institutions can print as much money as they want. And by doing that, what they've essentially done is built the military-industrial complex and completely devalued the currency. But the gold price is manipulated so that way they can continue to collect as much as they can throughout the whole world while still making profit on the COMEX as well and playing the markets. But the whole thing is 100%. I'm not even kidding. It's rigged, guys. Even the stock market is rigged,
right,
okay? And some people even are suggesting that the crypto market is rigged too. And we've seen that with FTX and some of the other stuff. So, you know, the evidence is in the pudding, man. It's out there. But the precious metals market, what they're doing right now is Bank of International Settlements has, you know, people already know this. It's fact. They've reclassified it from a tier 3 asset class, which is high risk, to a tier 1 asset class, which is zero risk, guys. That should have been on world news. But if that was on world news, everyone would start buying gold and dumping dollars right there and then. But people don't read, they don't follow up with this stuff, so everyone missed it. However, people like me and some other individuals out there, we hopped on it real fast. But the price of gold is manipulated. Now,
don't forget me.
When they're ready, and they will be soon, and this ties back into what our first co-host said in the beginning. He said that there was an intersection between blockchain and precious metals.
Who's been telling you that?
And I agree with him entirely. He's absolutely right. So they're going to reset the price of these very soon. And that all, the price of gold, what is it going to be at, right? In my humble opinion, I believe that price of gold, an ounce, could be over $10,000. And that's a bit exaggerated, I get it, okay? But it will gradually start working its way to $3,000 to $4,000. And that's going to be a result of systemic risk as a result from the debt market.
Systemic
and that's kind of what I said
you
at the
don't
beginning.
say.
All of this shit is going to start in the debt market, 100%, guys. Because the debt market is the only thing America produces, debt, all over the world. Once that shit goes down, the whole thing is going to reflect on the global economy. And then the price of metals is going to go through the roof. It's going to have to. And another thing also, all that money and treasure.
I think there's something else that's going to go through the roof.
It's all around the world. It's going to be looking for a place to sit under. So visualize the physical amount of metric tons of gold, okay? And taking all that money on derivatives, stocks, whatever, okay? And putting it under a few 100 ounces of precious metals. The price would go through the roof. And the whole idea about Zimbabwe having about $12 trillion of gold, that's bullshit. They did that to manipulate the price of gold, and gold went back down. So they're playing games, guys, I'm telling you. Physical assets, gold has been sought for thousands of years. It's the most important metal out there. It's used in all your phones, all your electricity. It's used in airplanes, jets, space programs, whatever. So gold is very essential.
That's the Black Swan Capitalists. I'm very impressed with those guys. You know the drill, folks. Miles Franklin is one of my sponsors. You can go there to get physical gold, but you got to use code DAI Gold. info@milesfranklin.com is their email, 952-929-7006. Now, Check this out. Charles Hoskinson, I'm so disappointed in him. He is so wrong in this clip.
When they talk about Ethgate on the other side of the aisle, they're talking about, okay, people use connections and relationships and perhaps money to convince insiders in the government to go easy on Ethereum.
You're right so far.
Probably happened. Who knows? Hard to
No, we do know. You know, we know, everybody knows.
There's obviously a lot of people digging in that well, and it's like there's a bear shit in the woods. So you're telling me T-Mobile, when it wants to buy Sprint, doesn't find ways to make the FCC and the FTC and others a little happier about that?
Okay, I got no problem with that. Okay, I agree. That's the way the world works. I agree.
That's how America does business. It's wrong. It shouldn't happen, but that's how that happens. And we're surprised that our own industry started learning that Joe
now
figured some stuff out. Okay.
Joe Lubin figured some stuff out.
I mean, let's be real about it. We're adults. We can have a real conversation.
We're adults.
I know the media can't.
No, I can have a real conversation. Here's the real conversation. Charles, here's the real conversation right here. You're right. This is part of the way business works, is people get paid off in backroom deals. Yeah. The problem comes in when the same group of people who's meeting with Joe Lubin behind closed doors, the same people at the SEC, then turn, well, there's a couple of problems. The other thing is that what's going on in those rooms apparently was leaking out to people that were then going out and in almost like a coordinated effort and shouting from the rooftops that they're shorting XRP. Then the same people, government officials in those rooms giving ETH the free pass, go and make sure that a lawsuit is filed against Ripple, and then they immediately leave the SEC. This is the reason that the investigation, this is the part, and there's a reason Charles Hoskinson won't bring that part of this up. So yeah, you were right on part of it. Now this is a great clip right here that was put out on David Schwarz. Check this out.
Okay, so we have two questions. That's fine, but I think the gentleman in the back was first.
I'll wait.
Okay.
So I was just wanting to know what kind of scale the banks are currently using this to trade amongst each other, because I mean, if they're doing it on the existing, traditional crypto exchanges, wouldn't there be issues with liquidity pockets, right? Like for a bank to settle a couple $2 billion amongst each other, I just don't see how they could possibly get to that size without materially moving the market against each other.
So no one is settling on a digital asset at scale today. What's going on at scale today is the messaging part that's able to settle on a digital asset when the liquidity is there. What's happening on the digital exchanges right now is there are really only two participants. There's market makers and there's speculators, and that's part of what I think is making the market so unhealthy. The market makers are deathly afraid that speculators are going to see a price go up on one exchange and beat them by a millisecond and sort of, make them take a loss and vice versa. What we're trying to do with XRapid is bring to these crypto exchanges market takers, people looking for liquidity who don't care what crypto prices are doing. The thesis is that if we do that, market makers will make more money because there won't be people trying to force them to take a buy when the price is dropping and vice versa. And they'll respond, if I see you making a lot of money, I'll make just a little bit less money and someone else will make less money still. So we think that bringing in like real demand for payments will bring the spreads down and bring the offer volumes up. XRapid will see if we're right about that. But you're absolutely right that there has to be more liquidity. The volatility problem is solved by the speed. The next question is, can we solve the liquidity problem? And I think as XRapid scales up, we'll see whether this just brings more liquidity, or in the negative scenario, do we just use up all the liquidity and then the market just dies? I don't think that'll happen. I think what market makers are looking for is people to take the liquidity that they provide. But we'll see very soon.
All right, very interesting clip. Now, I just wanted you to hear a little bit of this, to listen to how Mickey Mouse, how immature that this was the CEO of Alameda, and this is like apparently some all hands meeting that she had on November the 9th. There's no freaking way that these kids, it was almost like they were put there. It's almost like they were put there just to be like the marketing of this thing. They couldn't have been running it. Listen to this girl. She couldn't have been running anything.
Okay, let's get started, I guess, with a bunch of people. Yeah, I guess I'll just start by saying some stuff, and then you guys can feel free to ask questions. Yeah, so I guess you guys have probably seen a lot of what's happening on, I don't know, Slack and Twitter, but I could just like start by giving a general overview of the situation. I think the basic story here is that starting last year, Alameda was kind of borrowing a bunch of money via open term loans and use that to make various illiquid investments. So like a bunch of FTX and FTX US equity, a bunch of like other ventures, investments, etc. And then with crypto being down, the crash, the like credit crunch this year, most of Alameda's loans got called, and in order to like meet those loan recalls, we ended up like borrowing a bunch of funds on FTX, which led to FTX having a shortfall in user funds. And so with the once there started being like fun about this, and users started withdrawing funds, they kind of eventually were realizing that they were not going to be able to meet like the continued withdrawal pressure.
Like the
and so
it's like a child. It is a child. There's no way that those two are running that operation. No way. Check this out. The SEC will not be appealing the court decision on Grayscale BTF. And Jeremy Hogan says, you will probably make a lot of money soon, and I hope you do, but whatever remained pure and true about Bitcoin will soon be gone. Someone tell me how to feel about this. Well, he's right. All these ETFs mean is that it will solidify the fact that Wall Street from now on will be manipulating the price of Bitcoin, which they've been doing all along anyway, but they'll really be able to do it. Now, this is an interesting clip from Altcoin Daily. The guy interviewed Anthony Scaramucci. He was one of the big FTX backers. Now Sam Bankman-Fried owns like 30% of his company. Listen to some of the things that he says about Gary in here.
I think he's on the political take. He's welded to her. She hates crypto. He is a representative of hers, even though he taught crypto and liked things like Algorand when he was an MIT professor. I also think, as you mentioned SBF, he met with him a few times, and I think he embarrassed him. And I think SBF in general, given the amount of money that he gave to the political community in Washington, has embarrassed a lot of them.
Anthony Scaramucci is an American entrepreneur, financier, politician, and cryptocurrency bull who actually knew Gary Gensler, the SEC chair, back in Gary's Goldman Sachs days.
I did. I knew Gary. I mean, Gary was roundly disliked at Goldman. He was like one of these sanctimonious, righteous people.
In today's interview, Scaramucci shares insider knowledge on Sam Bankman-Fried, Gary Gensler, and BlackRock's spot Bitcoin ETF.
Could I ask you about the BlackRock ETF from the point of view where you're going to be going in with them?
Yes, it's public now. Yes, I filed a public document, so I was the first outside investor in the BlackRock ETF.
That's right. Insider knowledge. Scaramucci knew Gary Gensler at Goldman Sachs, is currently in with BlackRock.
All right, that's enough of that. Now, Caitlin Long had an interesting tweet here. Yep, as Novogratz said, Senator Warren is driving the Biden administration's bus on crypto. Biden cut a deal with her long ago. That's why she gets to place her people at the White House. So we got one. I mean, she's an all-out communist, pretty much. So she's running all of the finance of this country. What in the world? And now they're putting somebody else there, and everybody's hoping that they're not also a commie. Now, then Stephen Narioff put this out. Now, did I call this. I told you in so many words a long time ago that Laura Shin it felt like she was carrying the narrative, like she's just some kind of media plant. And he's got a whole thing here about how he was providing her. This is an email from Laura Shin to I guess this is to him. Let's see. Yeah. To Steve. Well, no, she's talking about Stephen. Thanks so much for all your help the other day. A few things. One is that there was a subfolder of emails inside the ones Steven showed me that were ones he picked out specifically as being helpful. In other words, Steven is helping her. Also, can he introduce me to Joe Grunfest? So Steven's helping her, and then she turns around, and as he says here, she had all the info. What I did yet in her book only briefly mentions inventing utility and says I helped Joe Lubin, but knew I created the ICO. Both of these essential to Ethereum and creation a whole sector. Then says later on, I'm an example of poor choices that Vitalik made. Yet in this email, she acknowledges I came up with a 24. I knew this woman, that she stinks to high heaven. I knew it. Look, and then Mr. Huber says what I've been thinking all along. This is how you spot them, folks. There's a reason that a lot of the influencers in the XRP community get 10 times or more the views as all of these narrative carriers. There's a reason for that. It's because we're telling the truth while everybody knows, and they know in their gut that all these people are carrying the water for someone, and they're carrying a narrative for someone. And he says it right here. It was always remarkable to me how she's able to get so less interaction on Twitter with all these high profile guests. I mean, 5,000 views with a 250,000 follower account. It doesn't add up because it's all plastic. It's all fake. Now, or it's not, she's actually doing the interview, but what I mean by that is that she didn't come to this because people are dying to watch her and love her great personality, which is non-existent, by the way. This is what I've learned in social media, and you can spot them a mile away. We've been watching a narrative about Bitcoin and Ethereum being carried for all these years, and it never made any sense to me. So what you have is, it's like 85 to 95% of the crypto media. It's like they've been given talking points to carry this certain narrative, and then 5 or 10% are people like us, where we just came along because we discovered this thing, and we're like, well, that doesn't make sense, but this makes sense. That's not true, but this is. And that's why this part of social media is what gets all the views, because people are dying in this world to have the truth told to them instead of a bunch of BS. Now, I'm about to go on. I'm going to go and tell my story, okay? This is where I leave you, YouTube audience. I'm about to go, and I'm going to tell my story that I haven't gotten to tell on YouTube. I'm going to also talk about this one topic that I literally wasn't able to do, okay? Some bad stuff happened as a result of me talking about it, okay? Here we go. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family the things that I'm able to talk about in my group that I wasn't able to talk about until now, because it's on like Donkey Kong, folks, and it's very refreshing for me. It's like a release. Thank you for listening.